What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a happy Good Friday. Hope you're staying safe and you are well. Now, first off, I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake because, well, a lot of us have been waiting for this game for a long time. I've been waiting for it since they had that tech demo for the PS3 way back in the day. I was like, oh, this looks so great. Are they going to remake it? And it never came. And then finally, a few years ago, they announced it. It's coming. And then there was the whole controversy with the episodic take that they're doing with it, which I don't feel so bad about anymore, considering it's pretty much a full-length game. And, who knows how many parts of this game we're even going to get. It sounds like there's going to be like 4 parts, though I think they're saying 3. I don't know how you're going to do this game in 3 parts, considering from what I understand, you can blaze through the first game in 22 hours. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. 22 hours, I guess, is if you don't do everything, you can just run through it and beat it in 20 hours or 22 or something like that. But people have been whining about the game for the past year or so. Tifa Lockhart, that's kind of been the big thing, right? Like with her size of her chest area. I can't say the actual word, but people have been talking about that for a while. And then there was the whole thing with the ethics department over at Square saying, hey, we need to tone that down. Then there was some crazy stuff with Google. You couldn't even auto-complete her name. Like, there's weird stuff going on with her, but that's not the full story here. Kotaku has been they've been the big people that have been complaining about this game. Let's go over some of their complaints real quick before we get to the funny one. So this was the first time that they caught my eye with this stuff. So Kotaku's first kind of jump into this on 5/10/19. Fans are concerned about Bert's voice in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. What was going on here? Basically, this is when the first trailer dropped. People were going crazy about it. Well, no, let me rephrase that. NPC puritans were going crazy about his voice. It makes him stereotypical. He's racist. They were going crazy about it. Average people weren't making a big deal about it, because they're normal people. And pointing out that the guy's actually a really good example of a character because he's a good father and loves his daughter, and he's essentially a good person. But it's the way he talks. Well, how should someone talk, Kotaku? Like, it's ridiculous. So this was their first big one. This is the one that they made a big piss fit about. And then more recently, this guy, Chris Kohler, he's an editor for Kotaku, even wrote a book on Final Fantasy V, which I think was probably him just running around stealing other people's takes. More than likely, game journalists do it all the time. I can't prove that. I can't, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was true. So Chris Kohler says, wow, did that Final Fantasy VII Remake demo send my interest plummeting? I have basically zero idea how to play that first boss fight. 1,000,000 interlocking systems, all thrown at you at once. Make sure to attack, but also you can't heal, but also use magic, but also you can't use magic, but also make sure to stagger the enemy, but also he has a barrier, but also hide behind some debris, but also... Basically complaining about the difficulty of the first boss, which I got to tell you, really wasn't that difficult of a boss. This is another complaint for an easy mode. That's kind of the big thing that game journalists have been whining about for the past year or two. They want an easy mode in their video games. Everything must be easier. The funny thing is, they want to so what a lot of people say. They want a urinalist mode. These people aren't very real. They're not real gamers. What they want to do is be able to rush through the game really quickly so they can get on to another game to do their pieces on and their reviews. Not realizing that the average person can't afford multiple $60 games, right? They get them for free. It just shows you how out of touch these people are with the people that they're trying to appeal to get clicks on their articles. Now, of course, on Twitter yesterday, I had some fun with this, posting a picture, because you can screen share on PS4. So I posted a picture of me getting past the first boss, instead of already doing better than game journalists. Just having a little bit of fun. The reason I've highlighted this guy's tweet again is because he's from Kotaku, and he was whining about the difficulty of the game. And the reason I'm doing that is because, once again, Kotaku is whining about the difficulty of the game. So from Kotaku, Final Fantasy VII Remake Easy Mode is way too easy. Now it's too easy. So this is why this is such a stupid take. I'm going to go through this article. But they want to be able to do and use all of the game mechanics in combat and have the same experience, but they want it to be easy. So now they have an easy mode, but they complain about it just being button mashing. It's like, well, what do you want, dude? Do you want the game to be a challenge, or do you want the game to be easy? What do you want? This is why it's so hard. You can't satisfy these people. And the big reason that they push for these easy modes is because of ableism. What about the man with cerebral palsy that wants to play the game? Even though I've seen videos of people that have that playing video games and giving these people the finger and saying, get good, which I find absolutely hilarious, because if there's a will, there's a way. But, the truth is, these people don't even really want these things. They just want to whine about them. So let's go through this a little bit. It's not a very long article. And see what the fuss is. So it's combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake, especially when facing powerful boss battles, involves juggling normal and special attacks, destructive and healing magics, and strategically exploiting enemy weaknesses. Unless you're playing in easy mode, then it's just button mashing BS. Well, yeah, it's easy mode. Why would you need to juggle and do all kinds of strategy to beat an enemy if you're playing on easy mode? It kind of defeats the purpose of playing on an easy mode. But they don't understand this. It's because they're not real gamers. None of these people are actual gamers. They're using these games journalist websites to jump to, a platform that they actually want to be on. Or that, they'll also use it to politically grandstand and so on. It's not about playing video games. So I spent 40 hours playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, mostly on normal mode. That says to me that when you had trouble, you switched to easy mode. You didn't try to get good. You said, all right, I'm just going to switch over to easy mode. The highest difficulty initially available, a no items hard mode unlocks after completing the game once. That sounds pretty difficult. I go through quite a bit of potions. Because sometimes the cure spell isn't high enough. That's all I have right now. Eventually get higher cures as you go on, but that sounds kind of difficult. No items, so you're stuck with magic completely. Because the thing with that is not all characters, some characters you push up to be healers, some you push up to be, powerhouses. You'd almost essentially have to give everybody cure so that you can heal constantly. That sounds pretty interesting. I might play. That makes me want to play through the game again just to try that mode. I burned through potions and character reviving Phoenix Downs as I battled robots, mutant creatures, and Shinra soldiers. I was forced to repeat many of the game's boss battles after my party wiped, regrouping, switching out weapons and material to make sure my characters had the right tools at their disposal. It was challenging, but never dull. Okay, that's what the point is. The point is for the game to be somewhat challenging. The idea is, and I know this is crazy. I know this is a wild idea. What's this guy's name? I think it was Mike. Yeah. So, Mike, I know it's a wild idea that you have to do all of that, but some people, and I know this is crazy, some people like a challenge and like to feel accomplished after they finish a game. It's kind of one of the drawing factors and why people like them so much is you get some kind of accomplishment. You feel like you overcame a challenge. It's a core reason why I like game. I like that challenge. It's one of the reasons I like the Dark Souls games. But okay, all right, Mike. I'm not sure what you're whining about. Sounds like you're enjoying the game so far. Then came the dogs. Towards the end of the game, there's an encounter with a bunch of Shinra bloodhounds. It's not a boss fight, just a regular encounter between Aerith, Tifa, and a bunch of genetically modified puppers. The two characters separated from the rest of the party were quickly overwhelmed by snapping canine jaws again and again. There were just too many of them. I barely had time to get their ATB gauges to the point where they could use items, or cast spells. Should be able to cast barriers, and a couple of other things to, help you stay alive to use all of those things. I mean, but it's a challenge. It's kind of the point. The dogs are pretty tough. They can take damage a lot more. But you figure it out, you come up with a strategy, and you beat it. It's not that complicated. So as Jason Schreier mentioned in his incredibly helpful tips post, there is no shame in switching to easy mode for this battle. After reloading the game over screen 5 times, that's exactly what I did, as I thought. So this is what he did. He's like, oh, I like all of these mechanics. I like being able to switch around and do strategy. But when I can't figure it out, I switch to easy mode. Now I can get through this part. So the dogs, which tore my people apart time and time again, went down in under 30 seconds in easy mode. I didn't use spells. I didn't use special abilities. I barely had time to do so. Basic attacks, highly ineffective in normal difficulty mode, ripped those doggies apart like they were tissue paper. And there you have it. So basically, from what I'm gathering here, is he's upset that he didn't get to have fun doing strategy. He was able to just plow through it. Wasn't that the purpose of switching to easy mode, is so that you could just plow through it? Did you think you were going to get the same strategic fun switching to easy mode? That's not the purpose of the easy mode. The easy mode is there so that you can just blow through the game. It's essentially the mode that you people have been whining about for the past couple of years. You got it. This is what you get. If you don't like that, you can always just, stay in normal mode and learn how to play the game. It's a possibility, Mike. I don't know. As I was entering the game's home stretch and wanted to complete it quickly so I could dish with Jason about the ending, I left easy mode on, and it continued to be ridiculously simple. My potion stockpile grew instead of steadily depleting. I barely healed at all during the game's final moments. Boss attacks designed to deliver massive damage in normal mode barely tickled. And there's a good point here. Okay, so he turned it on during the home stretch so that he could quickly catch up with his colleague and talk about the game. You're not really talking about the game. A lot of people will talk about other things in the story. This is what gamers do. They'll talk about how the game played, the difficulty, a boss, what you had to do to beat that boss, strategies, and so on and so on. Not just the story, but these people just want to talk about the story. They essentially just want to watch movies with quick time events, really. But then they complain about that. So he turned on easy mode to blow through the game. I mean, how privileged and entitled is that? So for me, it's like, I can't afford to buy multiple $60 games all the time. It's just not feasible. These people get them for free. So they just want to blow through the game so they can talk about it with their fellow journalist buddies and then move on to another game that they essentially get for free. Okay, just imagine that. This is why these people are really out of touch with regular people. It really shows that just in that sentence. And I don't think he intended to put that through, but that's what I'm getting from this. And then he's complaining that he didn't go through the same tactics as if he would have been on more normal mode. It's like, what do you expect? Do you expect developers to sit there and figure out a way to make easy mode feel like normal mode? I mean, what do you expect these people to do? The task of making this game was already ridiculously high because games like this take a lot to make. So you want them to sit there and meticulously make easy mode like normal mode? As far as strategy-wise, no, they're just going to make it so you can blow through the game. I mean, that's essentially what you want. I'm the last person to shy away from playing a game on easy, but Final Fantasy VII Remake's easy mode is a joke, and it's not even the game's easiest setting. Classic mode is very easy. Only your character attacks and defends automatically. It might as well be a visual novel. I've heard that it's actually pretty easy. I have no intention of playing on classic mode. I think normal mode's just fine. I think it actually works very well. It does feel like playing the old. It's almost like a mutation of the old turn-based mode. I know it sounds weird, but I mean, you do a lot of slowing down and menu hopping. And it feels to me like a modern JRPG turn-based game. Maybe it's just me, but I actually like the combat in this game quite a bit. I feel like it's a good compromise between how the games used to play and, you know, the modern Kingdom Hearts style of game. So I kind of like it. I know a lot of people, it might be a hot take, but I dig it. So that's the end of the article. Really short. So basically, make easy mode challenging, but don't make it too challenging. Like, do you want these guys to sit there and spend multiple months tinkering with an easy mode? Ridiculous. Just shows you these people, all they do is whine. All they do is complain, destroy. Nothing's ever good enough. You give them an easy mode that they can just walk through. They whine about that. These people aren't real gamers. They're fake. They're fake human husks of flesh that play video games. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me your take on this. What do you think? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Also, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, take a moment. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. There's something going on right now, and they've been unsubscribing people. So just take a second and double check on that, and subscribe if you're new.